You're listening to Fast Facts Perio Edition. And now, here's your host, Katrina Sanders.
Hello, and welcome to Fast Facts Perio Edition. This week, we're looking at one of the key ways that we can identify if our patients are on the naughty or the nice list this year. And by that, I mean one of the new key drivers that we're starting to see inside of research when it comes to really helping us to detect, or rather delineate reliably, a distinction between periodontal health and periodontal disease. And more specifically, to distinguish between a patient who's in a state of gingivitis and in a state of periodontitis. Now, I'm going to share something a little bit provocative with you, and that might put me on the naughty list, but I will say that I think one of the key issues, complications, challenges, concerns, and perhaps opportunities within the work that we do as periodontal specialists really boils down to, where is that line in the sand? How can we clinically identify or understand a patient who's considered healthy, a patient who's considered a gingivitis patient, and a patient who is truly considered an irreversible case, an irreversible destructive case of periodontitis? And while many of us will look back at our clinical data, many of us will look at our periodontal probes, we also acknowledge that not all 4mm probing depths are the same. Not all 5mm probing depths are the same. Not all eliciting of bleeding responses are the same, depending on if our patient has delayed bleeding, if our patient is a tobacco user, if our patient is on blood thinning medications. So the clinical parameters, the proverbial lines that we've drawn in the sand with our periodontal probe, have created opportunities for us to really identify other key clinical ways to evaluate and distinguish these unique disease or health markers. And the data now is pointing to a salivary diagnostic opportunity. What we're talking about is the collection of salivary MMP8 levels. These MMP8 levels, these matrix metalloproteinase 8 levels, are a promising biomarker in early periodontal diagnostics. In this clinical data that has been listed for this study, we've been able to delineate with extremely high confidence levels that if we use MMP8 values in the saliva, that it can help us to readily distinguish and delineate between a patient who's considered a state of healthy, a patient who is considered a state of gingivitis, and a patient who is truly considered a case of periodontitis. This easy, quick, and convenient salivary diagnostic measurement should now be looked at as a key opportunity for incorporation into every dental checkup. And quite soon, we may find this to be a foundational standard for identifying various levels of the periodontal disease process. How will we know if our patients are on the naughty or nice list this year? Perhaps those MMP8 levels can help to identify that for us in dentistry. With that, I want to thank all of you so much for a wonderful Fast Facts Perio Edition season. From my family to yours, a happy holiday and a happy new year. This has been another episode of Fast Facts Perio Edition with Katrina Sanders. Please feel free to reach me on Instagram at The Dental Wine Genist or on my website, www.katrinasanders.com. Cheers.